there are so many changes. Up till now, humanity is still struggling to balance out with some of the changes that started last year. Okay, so many people had to work from home. So many businesses folded up. Some businesses that could not adjust to the change, they folded up. Some businesses are still striving to balance out up till now. Changes are inevitable. So it is very important for you as an entrepreneur to be flexible, be open-minded, and learn how to adapt to changes as they occur. Change will always occur, especially in business. It could be as a result of internal factor or an external factor. Whatever it is, changes will always occur. It is very important for you to be prepared, be proactive, be open-minded, okay? And let us go through this topic together. Before we go deep into this crucial decision, the discussion, I beg your pardon, if you are tuning for the first time, this is Talk to Kedi, and it's coming to you from the stable of Kedi Healthcare Industries Nigeria Limited, the leading provider of quality healthcare products and services in Nigeria. This broadcast remains your apt and accurate source of information about the company's offerings, that's our products, our events, and our promotions. Okay, stay tuned always. It comes up fortnightly. You can't afford to miss it. We also deal with contemporary issues that have the capacity to affect your business and then, of course, to affect your health. So today we will be talking about effective change management in business. But of course, whatever we'll be looking at today, you can also apply it to your life. Do you understand? So, effective change management. Are you ready for this? Don't forget that this is Talk to Kedi, and you can also get to talk to us. Make use of the comment section as soon as you tune in and then talk to Kedi. You have questions to ask, you have anything you would like us to know, make use of the comment section. We are here. If you have any question whatsoever with regards to any of our promotions, with regards to any of our events, any of our products, make use of the comment section. Talk to us. We are listening. Don't forget that we usually have a teaser every edition. Each edition we have a teaser. So in today's edition, our teaser is: what are the changes you encountered recently and how did you adjust to them? Okay, I ask again. What are the changes you encountered recently in business or in life and how did you adjust to them? Share with us in the comment section. We would also like to learn from you, okay? Other viewers will read your comments and then we will also be taking some of your comments live. We want people to hear from you. We want people to learn from you. So make use of the comment section and tell us, what are the changes you encountered recently in life or in business and how did you manage them? Don't forget that if you have questions, also make use of the comment section and ask your questions. We will do justice to them as we go on. Now, let's go back to the business of today. It has been discovered that many people resist change. People are generally reluctant to change because it brings you out of your comfort zone. One reason why people do not like to hear anything about change is because it practically brings you out of your comfort zone. It brings you out of that what you are used to. So that is one reason why people resist it. Okay, but honestly, it is inevitable. So the earlier you know this and start preparing your mind, the better it is for everybody. Now, however, the world is changing at a dizzy rate. The world is changing by that's as the clock is ticking, the world is changing. What was obtainable some years ago is no longer in fashion now. Many years ago, it wouldn't have made so much sense when you talk about digital prospecting, that's online prospecting. If 10, 15 years ago, if you tell distributors about prospecting online, they will look at you like, excuse me. But now that's the in thing. Okay? What was obtainable some years ago is no longer in fashion now, both in business and in life generally. So it is very important that you as a person, whether you are an entrepreneur or not, it is important that you be open-minded. Some of us are too rigid. This is how I'm going to do it. This is how it has been, and this is how it will continue to be. There is no such thing again as what it is now, what it has been, is what it will continue to be. The world is changing at an alarming rate. And what that means for you as an entrepreneur is that you must be open to learn, open to unlearn. There are some things entrepreneurs do before that usually give them results. If you do them now, you may not get the same results. So it's important that you open up your mind, learn, unlearn all things that are no longer working for you, and then relearn. Please never get to a point where you feel learning is now a big deal. I mean, as long as you are alive, you have to keep learning. Especially in business, you must never stop learning. You must keep learning. You have to keep learning, and learning. Never get tired of learning. Okay, so now we have new global trends. Recently, in the country, the president launched the e-naira. So many things are changing. So many things, so many policies, new global trends, new economic policies are coming up by the day. You cannot afford to be on one spot. Number one, you cannot afford not to know. This is not a good time at all for any entrepreneur to just stay one place and feign ignorance. Ignorance is not an excuse. Oh. If you stay in one place and you don't give yourself to learning, other people will just come outsmart you and then leave you where you are and move. You must be open-minded. You must be open to learn. So now we have new global trends, we have new policies springing up by the day, new economic regulations, and so on. I'll mention a few as we go on. So it is very, very important now for every one of us to give ourselves to learning. And what do you have to learn? Learn how to manage these changes. They will keep coming. Different things, different policies, different regulations. You can't stop it. There's nothing you can do when it comes to controlling change, a change. Okay, it will come. The only thing you can do is to learn how to manage it and use it to your advantage. That's all. Okay, so let's go. What then is change management? We have looked at change. We have looked at the concept of change. We have looked at the fact that change is inevitable. Now, what exactly is change management? Are you ready? This is the point where you pick up a pen and a notepad and take down some points. It is very important. Is a talk to Kelly in itself a is a lecture on its own. So you're supposed to have a pen, just take down important points, ruminate over them after the podcast, and then look out for how you can replicate these tips to grow your business. That's the basis, the essence of this podcast. Now let's go. Due to the inevitability of change, adapting to and managing it has become a fundamental skill to help entrepreneurs deal with the present, manage the future, and remain relevant in business. Like I said earlier, at such a time as this, it is very important for entrepreneurs to be ready. Like, be ready. All the skills, the knowledge that you need to manage changes as they occur in business, you cannot afford not to have them as an entrepreneur. It is very, very dangerous. Okay, and that is what change management is about. So, change management suggests that circumstances do not necessarily dictate the eventual outcome. Rather, what determines whether the change will rub off positively on you and your business or otherwise is how you handle the changes and disruptions. What determines whether a change will be positive or not? A change is a change. What determines whether it will be positive or negative on an individual or on a business is how the fellow manages the change. Let's go on. I'll give you several examples as we go on. In other words, no matter the change you experience in life or in business, don't forget that it is how you embrace the change that determines your outcome. If there is a policy, like the cashless policy, for example, if there's a policy and we have two different businesses, what determines the outcome of that policy on the two businesses is actually how each of the owners of the business, each owner of the business, how they handle the change. For instance, as a business owner, you could choose to align with the policy. As a business owner, you could choose to go out and learn how can cashless policy help my business grow. Okay, and then after learning, you come back and replicate all those things. You map out a strategy for your own business and then make sure that those strategies align with the policy. That's the cashless policy, for example. Now, if on the other hand, the business owner feels cashless policy was that, I mean, I can't even deal with that right now, and then it goes to bed. watch out. There is every tendency that this other business owner who took the time to go out to learn about the policy and then align with the policy will do better in the industry. So it's very, the change itself is not the problem. The problem now is how you adjust, how you manage the change to suit your need. For example, I give you this quick example. The current unstable rate of naira, we know if you have been following the business trend recently, you see the staggering rate of naira to dollar, and then some of us are scared somehow. It's fast becoming a nightmare for many entrepreneurs, especially with the new policy limiting the operations of the BDC that will really change people. Now, well, some of us, I feel, when it comes to issues that pertains to naira to dollar, some of us feel like, well, I'm not concerned, say something else. You are concerned, in fact, it concerns you. It concerns every one of us. Some of us, we like to feign, to act as if it doesn't concern us, but it actually does on the long run. So for instance, if you have children staying abroad, you need dollars to pay their tuition, to pay their fee. If you need to go on a trip, an international trip, you need dollars. And some of us are saying, well, I don't have children abroad and all that. But then, the rate of increase in prices of commodities these days, it concerns you, right? Something you bought last year for 500 naira, you can go to the market tomorrow and it is sold for 1,000 naira, sometimes 1,200. I give you an example. How much was a bag of rice last year? How much is a bag of rice now? 25 liters of groundnut oil, how much was it last year? How much is it now? In fact, that's even going too far. A kilo of chicken, you are with me, right? A kilo of chicken last year, we all know what it was. As at some days ago, it is now 2,000 naira. I mean, things like this. So the increase in prices of commodities these days is as a result of that staggering the policy, the dollar to naira policy. So some of these changes, when they come up, it is very important for you, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, to first understand the situation. In fact, to not even know about it is a problem. Understand the situation and then know how to manage it so that your business does not crash. Okay, so let's go. Another way that this dollar thing affects some of us is that some companies, they get their raw materials outside the country. That's for some companies, they have to import their raw material, and guess what? It affects them. Even KEDI, it affects KEDI a big deal. Although we produce locally, we get some of our raw materials outside the country. Okay, so let's go on. As a company, it became imperative for us to manage this change. When this whole policy came up, it became very important for us to look out for ways to manage this change. And in doing that, we came up with different measures to help us manage the changes. And one of such measures is the current price increase, which took effect from 1st of September 2021. Okay, because with the old price, the company will not be able to keep afloat, and the company may not be able to provide our distributors and our customers with the needed excellent products and compensatory packages that they deserve. Now, this takes us to the stages of change management. When changes occur, what are those things that likely take place? When changes occur, what are those things that likely take place? Now, when changes occur, an individual goes through 4 stages. When changes occur, usually, an individual goes through 4 stages. Please take note of them. The first stage is shock. That's the first stage. When any change is first introduced, the initial reaction is shock. There's an increase in the price of KEDI products. Wow! Yeah! Ow! The first stage is shock, okay, accompanied by denial and then attempts to return to the status quo. Man, I don't think we can manage. I don't think we can do it. Okay, so this is normal. However, it is very important to deal with the mindset. You see, at this very first stage, it is important to work on the mindset. First, ask some important questions. Why? Why? What is the cause of the change? Why is it coming at this time? Okay, let's go on. Because in working on your mindset, when you work on the mindset, it helps to make decisions that will not affect your business on the long run. I give you an example. When COVID broke out last year, and then the government restriction on public gathering, and then some other things came up, people were shocked. The first reaction was a rude shock, because so many businesses were affected. So event centers and so on. So the first reaction that usually greets change is shock. Now the second stage is fear. After shock, it now gravitates to fear. Once reality sets in after a while, many people now react with negativity. Like, wow, what is going to happen now? What's the next step? What do we do? How will this affect me? Like when COVID broke out last year, so many businesses, so many business owners were scared. What will happen to my business? So many employees were worried. Will I lose my job? What will happen? When they told people to go and work from home, so many people were scared. Is this the end? So the next stage after shock is fear. It is normal. It is normal. The fear of unknown, fear of so many things could creep up. Now, the third stage is acceptance. After shock, fear, the next stage is acceptance. After fear has been expressed and understood, people naturally begin to calm down. Like when the whole lockdown thing began, with the restriction and all that, at first people were shocked, and then fear came in. Then later, people began to accept the whole situation. Because like I said earlier, there is little you can do when it comes to change. The only thing you can do as far as change is concerned is to learn how to manage it actually. Okay, so at this point, that's at the third stage, people now begin to calm down and think, okay, how can I manage this change? And this is the turning point. At this stage, you clearly begin to map out your coping strategies. How you intend to work through the turbulent times and adapt to the change eventually. Back to our example. As events unfolded in quick successions, we began to accept the lockdown. They said mask up. Then we had the campaign, Mask Up Lagos. We were told to put on your mask, maintain social distance and all that. After the shock, fear, and all that, we now began to accept the change as part of life. Up till now, many of us will still use our mask. Up till now, many of us still go around with our hand sanitizers. Up till now, many of us still try to maintain social distance. Okay, so we have now come to that stage of acceptance. Reality accepting, and we have now begin to accept the whole situation. Okay, that's the third stage. And then the last stage. First, we have shock, then we have fear, we have acceptance. That's accepting the fact that there's actually nothing you can do about this change than to manage it. Now, that takes us to the fourth stage, which is transformation. Now, this is the stage where the eventual outcome of your response to the change begins to manifest. The outcome of your response, if your response was positive, the outcome will not manifest. If your outcome was negative, the outcome will not manifest at the transformation stage. Now, after acceptance, people gradually, they now begin to gradually adjust to the change, which has now become the new normal. Companies now, back to our example, companies have now adjusted. Up till now, some companies still work from home. Yes, up till now, some companies still work from home, except few key staff who go to the office to do a few things and then go back home. In fact, the beauty of the whole thing is that companies have now learned, companies have now adjusted to the fact that so many things can actually be done online. So many things can actually be done without a physical meeting. So all of those bureaucratic processes have not been cut down. So companies and even individuals have now learned and adjusted to the new normal, although some are still striving. Even the nation, the world itself, okay, is still striving to balance out. But the important thing is that we have accepted the reality and we are now working towards normalizing and then aligning with the change. So there are 4 stages when it comes to change management. The first stage is shock, and then the second stage is fear. What is going to happen? How do I deal with it? And then the third stage is when reality sets in. Say, okay, there is nothing I can do about this, right? You begin to accept it. Then the last stage is transformation. If you're just tuning in, this is Talk to Kedi, sharing knowledge, liberating minds, and it's coming to you from the stable of Kedi Healthcare Industries, Nigeria Limited. Don't forget that you can be part of the conversation. You can be part of the conversation. As soon as you tune in, make use of the comment section and talk to us. We are listening. Okay, our teaser for the day is: what are the changes that you recently encountered and how did you manage them? What are the changes you recently encountered, either in business or in life generally, and how did you manage them? Okay, we want other people to learn from you because we'll be reading out your comments as we go on in the broadcast. Also, if you have questions with regards to any of our ongoing promos, any of our products, any of our events, make use of the comment section and talk to us. We are listening and we will do justice to all of them. Now, before we look at now let's look at effective change management in business. And by that I mean, how can I effectively manage changes in my business? So many things can cause changes in business. Like I said earlier, it could either be an internal factor like maybe death of a staff or so many things. It can also be an external factor like a regulation. When there is a government regulation or a government policy on a particular subject that has to do with your business, of course, it will go up for your business. So an external factor could be from the government, a government regulation, a one policy somewhere, an environmental factor, and so on. So there are so many things that can cause changes in business. Now let us look at it critically. As a credit distributor or as an entrepreneur generally, how can you manage changes in your business? Now, in doing justice to this particular point, I'll be dwelling on Cutler's change management theory. You can read up on it later at your leisure time. Cutler's change management theory. Do well to read up on it and then pick out points and use them to manage changes in your business. Now, Cutler is a German American. Is a German American psychologist. He developed a change model that I would love to share with you. Of course, we have so many other change models, but I intentionally chose this one because it suits what we do as an MLM company. Okay, so let's go through it together. Now, according to Cutler, management model. Okay, involves three major steps. The first one we have is unfreezing, and then we have changing, and then of course we have refreezing. We have unfreezing, changing, and then refreezing. Are we ready as we go through this together? It's very, very important and interesting. Now, the first step, unfreezing. Before a change can be implemented, okay, it must go through the initial step of unfreezing. What exactly is unfreezing? Now let's look at it. Now, because many people naturally resist change, the goal during the unfreezing stage is to have a robust knowledge about the change and understand how it affects your life or your business, either positively or negatively. Now, this unfreezing stage has to do with getting knowledge about the change. Now, it is a very terrible thing to happen to an entrepreneur when there is a particular change affecting your business and you know nothing about it. You know practically nothing. Now, if you know nothing about the change, how do you possibly get the requisite knowledge to align your business with the change in order to help your business grow? So the first step, that's the unfreezing stage, is to get knowledge. For example, this new law, this new policy, I beg your pardon, the new policy on the BDC operation and all that, and dollar and all. It is important for you as an entrepreneur to know about it. You will not be a BDC operator, but it's important for you to know about the policy because it affects your business in a way. Even if you're not a business owner, it's important for you to know. Like, don't trivialize some information to say that, okay, this information is not important to me, this one is. Almost all are important. I'm not a BDC operator, but the moment that policy was announced, I took time to read up on it. Because you have to know. It's important that you know. Because if you don't know, something that affects your business, you don't know anything about it, how do you even manage it in the first place? So this unfreezing stage is the part where you get to learn. You get to know about that policy, know about that change, read up on it, study, know about it. Okay, now back to our example. During the heat of the pandemic, businesses had to undergo a paradigm shift. So many analog businesses, so many analog business owners who would not take time to learn anything about the digital world. Of course, they fizzled out. So many businesses couldn't cope because so many things were moved online. Meetings were done online. Seminars, as an MLM company, seminars were moved online. So many people who felt the social media or the digital media, generally speaking, was a waste. At that point, they understood that no, it is something to know, it is something to learn about. Okay, so many paradigm shifts. The first one, like I just mentioned, is from analog to digital. Now and then not just that, so many other issues here and there. Okay, so when changes occur, it is important. Now, take that. This is the point for you. This is the point for you. When changes occur, it is important for you as an entrepreneur to unfreeze the old methods. Do away with the old methods. All those old ways of doing things, at this stage, you first do away with them first. Okay? And then you accept the new reality. Remember, we talked about acceptance during the stages of change management. You do away with the old, and then you accept the new reality, because that is the first step. If you don't, so many businesses are stagnant now. I don't want to mention some brands for you. So many businesses are stagnant now. So many businesses have been relegated, and other people are taking over. That is what will happen if you refuse to align with the change. The world is changing. You cannot afford to be stagnant. You can still make use of the comment section and talk to us. Don't forget that we have a teaser for the day, and the teaser is, in case you're just tuning in, let me tell you the teaser. It's very interesting. Okay, today's teaser is, what are the changes you recently encountered, and how have you been able to manage them? What are the changes, either in business or in life? What are the changes you encountered, and how have you been able to manage them? Okay, I have this on Facebook from Adeni Yopeyemi. Thank you for dropping your own opinion. He said, my own change was when the company changed the price. And before then, to do statutory cost 89,500, but now it's now cost 106,000 naira. This change caused some effects whereby some of the new downlines could not cope, but we thank God and also applaud Kedi for the Awoof promo that motivates people. Thank you so much, Adini Opeyemi on Facebook, for dropping your own opinion. Okay, so we would like to hear from all of you. What are the changes that occurred that you encountered recently, and how have you been able to manage them? So let's go on. We have talked about the unfreezing stage. That's the unfreezing stage. The next one we have here now is changing. Don't forget, in case you're just tuning in, you are taking me back a bit. We are looking at Kotlewi's change management theory. How can you, as an entrepreneur, manage changes that occur in business, okay, to your advantage? Because changes will always occur. You cannot stop it, you cannot control it. It is inevitable. The only thing you can do is to learn how to manage it. So we have looked at the first step. Okay, the first step, which is unfreezing stage, where we talked about you as an entrepreneur understanding the change in itself, understanding the change. Why is this change coming up at this time? And then in understanding it, you now have to accept it and begin to learn how to align with the change. Now let's go to the second step. Step 2, we have changing. Now, the change step is referred to as transitioning or moving. Now, this step 2 is the action part. Okay, the first step, you have taken time to learn about the change, and then you have worked on your mindset to accept the change. Now, the second step is the movement, the transitioning, which is usually marked by the implementation of the change. You have accepted it, right? Now, this step two is the implementation stage. This is when the change becomes real. Okay, this is also the time that most people struggle with the new reality. Honestly, it is normal. It is normal at first. When there's a new policy or something, it is normal to first struggle to first walk around it before it becomes complete. Now, it is time marked by uncertainty and fear. Now, during the changing step, people begin to learn and adopt new behaviors, you know, processes and ways of thinking. Last year, you will agree with me that so many changes were adopted. So many changes were adopted and implemented by the company due to the effect of the pandemic. Okay, the first one we have, I talked about moving physical seminars online for some months, and then another one we did was the online achievement submission, which we are still doing now, but it started last year. Okay, another one we have is the introduction of Talk to Kedi. This broadcast was introduced last year because we needed to reach out to our distributors. I mean, there was a government regulation asking all of us to stay back at home, and there was no seminar, there was nothing. You know, the management saw the need to continue to relate with our distributors, to continue to dish out information to them, to check up on them. So that was when this broadcast was introduced. This broadcast was actually introduced last year in April to bridge the communication gap between the management and then our distributors. And up till now, that is what we are still doing, to bridge the communication gap, to meet the information need of our distributors. That is what this broadcast is about. Okay, that's one of the measures that the company adopted last year to manage the change. Okay, and so many other things. Even individual distributors, they have to sit back and then map out their own coping strategies. Just like the company mapped out our own coping strategy, the individual distributors too have to do the same thing. Okay, so when changes occur, after accepting them, the next thing is to now get to work. Get to work. Map out your coping strategy. Your coping strategy is how you intend to manage. That's in black and white. How do you intend to manage this thing? What are the steps? What are those things, practically speaking? What are those things you intend to do to manage this change? That is what your coping strategy is all about. So that's the second step. Now, the third step we have is the refreezing. Unfreezing, change your mindset. The changing, that's the transition in the action part, and then we have the refreezing. Now let's go over this one. That's the third step. Now, the word refreezing is used to symbolize the act of reinforcing, stabilizing, and solidifying the new state after the change. Now, you have adopted new methods, you have adopted ways to manage the change, right? That's during the changing step. Now, the refreezing step now talks about solidifying it and making sure that you do not go back to the status quo. Making sure that for no reason you stick to the new methods you have learned. Okay? Now let's go on. The changes made are accepted and refrozen as the new norm or the status quo. The refreezing step is very important to ensure implementation of the change, to make sure that you do not go back to what was obtainable before now. Now, back to our example, although the pandemic and its effects are easing off gradually, the company has since adjusted, KD has since adjusted to the new norm, and we keep getting better at it. We keep getting better at it. Distributors have also learned and adopted new business expansion strategies, and that is what the refreezing step is all about. Change is unavoidable in life. You can't beat it. In life and in business, changes will occur, always occur. You can't resist it. In fact, to resist change is to resist your growth. Take that from me. In fact, if you don't pick anything today, pick that one. To resist change is to resist your growth. Change your mindset instead. Embrace positivity, because on the long run, it is not the most intelligent or famous that will survive in business, but those who can best adapt and manage change. Did you miss that sentence? On the long run, it is not the most intelligent, it is not the most eloquent, it is not the most famous, okay, that will survive in business, but those who can best adapt and manage change. Be open-minded, be adaptable, don't be rigid, be positive, and you will be better for it. I can assure you. Okay, now this is how much we can take on effective change management in business. Keep your comments coming in. You would like to share with us the changes you recently encountered and how you have been able to manage them. Share them with us. We will take them as you do so. But in the meantime, let's take a few announcements. The first that I have here is the third and final edition of KEDI 2021 Foundation Training will be coming up on Wednesday 10th November and Thursday 11th of November 2021. Okay, so this training is free. This training is free for is free of charge. Okay, it's free and it is open to all one-star consultant distributors to four-star consultant distributors. Okay, so prepare to attend. You need to know the closest venue. Go to all our social media platforms on Facebook. We have it on Instagram. We have it on LinkedIn. Go there and then check the closest training venue and then prepare to attend. Don't forget that our September to November seasonal promo is getting to its climax. We will soon start counting down. Don't be left out of this amazing opportunity to win cash prizes and of course amazing prizes. Okay, so the promo commences on 11th of September and it will run through till 30th of November. Participate and win. Okay, KEDI Mega product promo is also on. Okay, it's open to existing distributors only. So we have the promo literatures on our social media platforms. Just visit any of our social media platforms, get the promo flyer, digest it very well, and then participate to win. Okay, so KEDI registration award promo is also ongoing. Okay, this one started on 11th of September too, but it will run through till 31st of December 2022, not 2021. Okay, so where you get to win one KEDI Gum Care toothpaste free when you register as a KEDI distributor. Don't forget that KEDI 2022 car award promo is also on. It will be coming to an end on 28th of February 2022. You cannot afford to be left out. Okay. The third edition of KEDI Shopping Festival is coming soon. You don't know about our shopping festival? In fact, it's usually the biggest promo of the year. Okay, so just get ready. Get ready, it's coming soon. Just stay tuned to all our social media platforms as we dish out more about this amazing shopping festival. Don't forget that all editions of KEDI Inspire magazine are available. You can get yours at any of our training centers nationwide. Place your order and get yours today. Don't forget that you can also advertise your business, advertise the service center, advertise what you do on the next edition of KEDI Inspire magazine. You are interested, call the editor today on 080-3340-6476. Or you would like to share your KEDI story. You feel you want to share your story with the world. Okay, also contact the editor on 080-3340-6476 or send a mail to info@kedihealth.com. Don't forget that all our social media platforms are active round the clock to attend to your inquiries. On Facebook, we have an account, KEDI Headquarters Lagos. On Facebook, we have a page at KEDI Healthcare Industries. On Facebook, I take that again. On Facebook, we have an account, KEDI Headquarters Lagos. On Facebook, we have a page at KEDI Healthcare Industries. On Instagram, we are at KEDI Healthcare_official. On LinkedIn, we are at KEDI Healthcare. We also have a YouTube channel at KEDI Healthcare. Go there, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then watch our educative videos. Don't forget our mobile application, KEDI Care app. Download yours today to secure your business from wherever you are in the world. Don't forget our website, www.kedihealth.com. I leave you with our Dr. Cap tip for today. Are you ready? Okay, coming from the table of Dr. Cap is saying that change is inevitable in life and in business. You can either resist it or potentially get run over by it, or you can choose to cooperate with it, adapt to it, and learn how to benefit from it. So when you embrace change, in a nutshell, you will begin to see it as an opportunity for growth and not a challenge. And with that, it is a wrap on this edition of Talk to Kedi. And I hope you had a swell time because I did. In case you joined the broadcast late, don't worry. After the broadcast, just go to our Facebook page at Kedi Healthcare Industries or our Instagram handle at Kedi Healthcare _official. The video will be there. You can watch it from the beginning to the end. Okay, even our YouTube channel. Sorry, you can now watch Talk to Kedi on our YouTube channel. Okay, so after the broadcast, you can go to our YouTube channel at Kedi Healthcare. Subscribe and then sit comfortably and watch the video from the beginning to the end. Okay, if you had an amazing time today, don't forget to join us in our next edition. It promises to be exciting. So till I come away next time, always remember that change is constant, change is inevitable. You can't control it, you can't predict it. The only thing you can do is to learn how to manage. So don't hate it. Instead, learn how to use it to your advantage. Thank you so much for tuning in. I remain your regular host, Sarah Egona. Thank you so much. God bless you.